Hello folks, Tiso here. We will be getting a free 4-star Liyue character in less than a couple days. I will be talking about each character's constellation strength and rank them at the end of the video. I'll also be giving a quick summary and closing thoughts. Skip to the end or the character that you're interested in for the TLDR. I also have more detailed guides on most of these characters. If you want to learn more about them, click on the info cards on the top right or check the description below. Anyways, getting the character will cost 1,000 peace talismans that we get from the tower defense minigame. In order to buy this character from the Stand By Me event, you will also need to progress into the third stage of the Lantern Rite event by completing Xiao's questline when it unlocks. Let's start with Xiangling. She is a flexible pyro unit that many of us used as a main carry before we got lucky in the gacha. She is also a jack of all trades, master of none. She does very good damage as a physical carry with the Crescent Pike, but won't outperform other 5-star carries. She can easily be converted into a burst support and provide a lot of pyro damage and elemental reactions. As a support, she is best on pyro teams or melt teams. Her C1 is really good with pyro teams, letting other characters do more pyro damage. Her C2 will only benefit a carry Xiangling, since you won't be spending time doing a full combo as a support. Her Constellation 4 increases her burst duration. Without C4, you can hit an enemy 7 to 8 times with her burst. Having this constellation can let you hit an enemy up to 12 times if you rotate counterclockwise against the burst direction. Her C3 and C5 increases the damage of her abilities. Every character will have these two constellations. Her last constellation will again help out a pyro team by increasing their damage. The biggest power spike is her Constellation 4, so aim for that if you are planning to have her on your team. Xinyan is a shield support with a limited carry potential. Her strength as a carry increases with more constellations. Her C1 increases her attack speed. This, along with C4 and C6, will let her play as a carry, but still won't outdamage other 5-star carries. C2 gives her the biggest power spike as a burst support. This allows the physical damage from her burst to always crit. This means you should build all crit damage and not worry about crit rate. C2 also gives her a pyro shield that does small damage to enemies around you. Her C4 is good for her support and carry roles. Swap her in, use her E then Q, and swap her back out to your carry for maximum effect. Her final constellation only helps her carry role, and incentivizes using charge attacks over normal. Beidou is our second Claymore user on the list. She has a unique counter attack that benefits active playstyles. Her abilities let her be a decent carry and support, with a good mix of physical and electro damage. Her C1 creates a shield when she uses her burst, which stays even after swapping characters. Her C2 lets her outdo more damage and create more elemental reactions. Both of these constellations help out her carry and support roles. Her C4 increases her damage output when using normal attacks, and C6 lets her and other electro units do more damage while Beidou's burst is active. It's hard to rank a single best constellation for her since they are all good for her playstyle, but I guess C6 will have to be the capstone of her kit. Ningguang is an excellent carry and was able to rival the damage of other 5-star carries when she was at Constellation 6 before patch 1.3. The new buff to Geo Resonance in the current patch boosts her damage even higher, making her a wonderful choice for a carry on a free-to-play account. Her C1 allows her to deal damage against a group of enemies, which is very nice. Her C2 lets you put down a Jade Screen every 6 seconds if timed correctly. The Jade Screen does good damage when deployed and generates a nice chunk of energy particles. Her C4 is the weakest constellation on her list. She is squishy, but you don't want to be getting hit anyways. Finally, her C6 lets her damage jump from a strong 4-star to a strong 5-star character. On bigger enemies, C6 will double the damage output from her burst. Once getting this constellation, your rotation will be to dash through your Jade Screen for extra geo damage, use a charge attack to expend all your Jades, cast her burst, then use another charge attack to unleash the extra 7 Jades. This is definitely her best constellation and you should aim for this if Ningguang is your carry. She is also a rate-up unit on the Xingqiu banner, so now is the best time to get her to max constellation if you are able to do so. Xingqiu is a Hydra support that does a lot of damage from his burst, and enables your carry to do even more damage with elemental reactions. Don't sleep on this excellent burst support. His passive also saves you resin by giving you a chance to refund talent book materials while crafting. His C1 increases the number of swords circling his abilities. All this does is increase his healing and damage mitigation by a little, but does not increase his actual damage output. His C2, however, is extremely effective. It increases his burst damage by making the duration longer and decreases the enemy's hydro resistance. This constellation is his best power spike and puts him as the best hydro support for a Tartaglia carry. His C4 increases his E damage a little during his ult, but you won't be taking full advantage of this without a sacrificial sword as his weapon. His C6 also increases his burst damage by a lot. Once you get this constellation, his burst can do up to 5076% hydro damage at base talent level 6, which is an insane amount of scaling. The last character we can choose from is Chongyun. He is average as a carry and has specific teams that he supports well. He is the best support for a carry Bennett, which is also not a common playstyle. Chongyun is also a good support for Kaya, but can't really support bow or catalyst carries. He is a good support for Diluc half the time, while Diluc is not powered up by his own burst. Chongyun's C1 lets him apply cryo with his auto attack combos. You won't be doing this too much as a support. His C2 is his best support ability. It decreases the cooldown of your team's abilities while inside the Frost Circle. His C4 lets him have better uptime on his burst, which only costs 40 energy. Finally, his C6 increases his burst damage as long as Chongyun is healthy. This pairs well with his kit to reduce cooldown and increase energy regen. Overall, we have a good selection of characters to choose from. Most players may have difficulty choosing between 2 or 3 of them. So here's a quick recap on which constellations are strong power spikes. Xiangling's best constellation is C4. It helps both her role as a carry and support. Her other constellations also boost the damage of pyro-focused teams. Xinyan's best constellation is C2. It lets her ignore crit rate and focus mainly on crit damage. She will need a lot more constellations to be a decent carry. Beidou is viable as a carry and support, and most of her constellations benefit both roles. Her best constellation is C6, but C2 is pretty good also. C6 increases the damage potential on electro teams by a bit. Ningguang is a 4-star carry that can dish out 5-star damage, especially with the Geo Buff Dispatch. Her best constellation is C6, which pretty much doubles her burst damage. If you don't have a strong carry yet, this is the best time to get one. Ningguang is a rate-up unit on the Xingqiu banner, and if you are far away from Pity, then this is a great chance to get more constellations for Ningguang. Xingqiu is one of the highest damage for a burst support and is able to provide elemental reactions for 14 to 17 seconds. Both C2 and C6 are great power spikes for him. If you don't have him yet, I recommend picking him up for the passive that refunds talent book crafting materials. Lastly, we have Chongyun, a niche character that works on specific teams. His kit makes him a better support than a carry, and C2 is his best constellation as a support. This is my overview on the available characters from the Stand By Me event. If getting Ningguang from this event will put her to C6, then that will be your number 1 priority. After that is getting your first copy of Xingqiu if you haven't gotten him yet. The last priority will be choosing a character you like, or by bumping a character to a power spike constellation. And remember to save up 1,000 peace talismans. If you are aiming for Ningguang, I suggest waiting until you are done rolling on the Xingqiu banner. Then get Ningguang if it will get you to Constellation 6. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Like, comment, and subscribe if these character and event guides are helpful. And as always, have fun out there, traveler.